Something clicked for me tonight as I was watching a video by Dr. Tracy Marks about dreams. In the video, she said that dreams of falling can mean that you feel out of control. And I felt very out of control for much of my life. Most of my life, my entire life. I used to have dreams of falling when I was a kid. And it just made a lot of sense when I heard that. And I just feel like it made so much sense. And feeling out of control, I think it's like my biggest fear. And it's why I have tried so hard to be in control. And it is something I've struggled with a lot. And I don't feel that in control, and that's why I feel stressed, I think, because there's so much that I don't control, and it worries me. I think it worries me a lot. Being out of control is like really worrying, and I don't know where the boundaries are, but that's just like more control and like, oh my gosh. I don't know. I have been out of control. Like when I was a kid, I had like no control. And things were horrible. And I mean, I had control of doing things, shameful things secretly, but I didn't have control over the shame and the embarrassment and the fear. But I never really felt like I had control over how people would react to me. And mainly I think about my mom. I always think back to that and how I always have to control myself in order so that she'd be okay. I don't know, it barely makes sense. But my mom has a mental illness. Pretty sure. And at least that's what my auntie said. And she denied it for many years. She was diagnosed with schizophrenia, but then she just denied having it. And so I'm really angry, and I feel really, I don't know what the word is, but like when you feel like you're owed something. Is that resentment? Maybe I feel resentful because I feel like I was owed things, like when your parents aren't the way that you think they should be, then I think that's would be resentment. But it's like very deep down, because I don't talk about it until like right now. And and then I feel ashamed because I feel like I have to then justify, because so many people have told me that I should be like, that things were okay and that things were, I should be grateful, and like all the differing worldviews confuse me as well on the internet. And I've felt like out of control of that too. Feeling out of control is like, it's not a nice feeling. It's a horrible feeling. Actually, when I took too much mushrooms, like I did like a heroic dose, I guess because I wanted to heal or gain wisdom or heal, mainly heal, I think. I thought somehow it would heal me. That was the thing that was the most scary, was the feeling of out of control. And like, if you've ever used like an app, like a swirl app, or like those apps that can swirl an image, that's what the entire world looked like. And I literally couldn't control it. And I think that's like the thing about psychedelics, is that they make you realize you're not in control. Or like, the main point about them is that you have to kind of go with them and not fight them. But because I took such a huge dose and I had such a bad time, I was basically helpless, or I felt basically helpless. I felt completely out of control. And the only thing that really helped was actually watching videos of Jesus Christ and like kind of like feeling his spirit or his love. That actually helped me so much come back to feeling okay. And also calling my brother, and thankfully my brother came down. I don't really know what I would have done. I almost called 911, and I wonder what life would have been like if I had. I don't know if it would have been better or worse. Being out of control, it kind of makes me feel crazy, because I always wonder, it's always like I'm trying to like control things in order to feel better, and I'm always wondering like, would I feel better if I did this or that, or said this or said that? Meanwhile, the entire time I don't feel good. Which is kind of funny in a dark way. But I think like feeling out of control, when you think about it, it's like a trauma response, or it's a feeling associated with trauma, because trauma takes away your feeling of being in control, because you literally, it's something that happens to you, but then also something that happens inside of you And for me, it happened from, honestly, I think it was like both genetic, like predisposition, like, not that I was genetically traumatized, but that I basically had like the genes of someone people who had gone through trauma. Like my dad went through trauma from when he was a kid. From his dad was an alcoholic and I think beat up his mom, which is my grandparents. And he was like the 10th of 11 kids. And he grew up really poor. And he always talks about racism because my dad, he's indigenous. He looks indigenous. He's half white though, but he still identifies as it because that's how he looks. And so trauma there on my dad's side. And then my mom, there's like a lot of like, it seems like complex trauma on her side. Her mom, my grandma, had a problem with alcohol, and I know she died fairly young, but I don't know if it was for a certain reason or not, but and my grandpa used to be a drinker, but apparently he quit, or he had quit, and then he lived a lot longer. But my mom, she had like complex issues or like untreated issues with things like anxiety and different disorders that just never got treated. And basically she was just like blow up all the time on us kids, and she would Bible thump and do the opposite of what she was trying to preach. And I'm not putting down the Bible, I'm just saying that she was being hypocritical about it. And I'm not trying to dishonor her as well. I'm just saying that's how it was for me growing up. But so it was like basically all these things which I didn't understand as a kid, because how can you expect a kid to? And so I feel like it was all those things, and I kind of like grew up as the youngest of 4 to a single parent. And actually, when my parents were together, my dad beat up my mom, and they weren't together. And I don't really remember it, but I just remember hearing about it, and I might remember a bunch of yelling. I can't even remember. I was so young. But like, it's just more like a scared feeling. And then I'm talking about the trauma part of it, but it's like a scared feeling that you can't control. Or like, the scared feeling is around an event that you can't control. So it's like a feeling of out of control in your body, or in my body. And then no one ever talks about it either. Or if they do, they talk about it in a way of like blowing up and fighting and blaming and yelling. But for me, because I'm quiet about things, because I would go into like, at least now I know it would be like dissociation or like freeze or fawn all the time. No one would really come check on me and like go through it with me to help me like debrief it and work through the trauma, and it just kept stacking up. Like it would just stack up, and more events would stack up, and more events, and it was just like just a collection of things that would happen that were negative, adverse events, and they would each get buried by shame and coping methods. And that would just happen for years, and that was like my entire childhood. And it was like people would expect things of me, and I felt out of control out of what they would expect. And mainly people would expect me to be happy. And this freaked me out, and I didn't understand it. And now when it happens to me now as an adult, which it still happens, I get angry because I just don't understand people's smiles. Feels so nice to stretch and actually to talk about this a little bit in a way that sort of makes sense. Like it kind of clicked for me when Dr. Tracy Marks said that about dreams of falling. Your dreams of falling can happen to you because you feel like you're out of control. And that has been just a recurring fear for me my entire life, 29 now. And I just really fear even like the littlest things. Talking to people is a huge fear for me. I fear all kind of things, and mainly because I have no bloody clue. I have no darn clue how things are gonna go. And the control thing is like, when are they gonna go bad? And when are things gonna turn out in the catastrophes that my siblings and my parents used to always talk about and still talk about, they're in a constant state of talking about. And my goodness, deep down I worry about catastrophe all the time. I have feelings like I'm gonna end up a huge failure, that people are gonna be laughing at me, that certain things are gonna come true, like that I don't want to come true, and they're foggy and they're far off. They're like a lurking monster, and just having no control over that. And it's, oof, that trauma is really like a hell sentence or like a trip into hell, because it makes your life so awful. Like, it really makes it impossible to feel comfortable with other people. I don't feel comfortable with people. I really do not. And I find it so difficult to feel comfortable with other people because I get scared when I start to feel comfortable. And I get mad. And I get upset, like, and I feel like I'm masking when things are going well, and I feel like never satisfied. I just feel not good about being around other people, talking to other people. I feel like I've heard it all, or I feel like, when's it gonna go bad, or like I don't feel at ease or comfort, or I don't feel that. And I also feel bad for not feeling it. So it's just, it's really difficult feeling out of control. Plus, everything just feels like it stacks on top of you. And I don't know. It's like, it feels like delusion is a huge part of it too. And it's like, oh, am I just delusional? Or do I have to contend with other people's delusion? And it just feels like exhaustion to do those things. And like, the doubt is so huge, and feels never ending. Feels never ending. But I think I just had to say about the feeling out of control thing, because that's a hard one. Feeling out of control is really hard. But hearing that, though, for some reason that just like took some weight off of me, and it opened up a plugged dam, or a plug for some of this to drain out. Like right now it feels like some of this is just draining out, like this not feeling in control. Like, venting is really good in the right circumstance or whatever. But feeling out of control is such a hard feeling. Oh man, it's really hard to heal from this Cptsd. It's really hard. It's really exhausting. Right now it feels good, but I should be going to bed. It's late. And I really think about, what am I going to do with my life? And I wonder if I should be doing something to help other people. I mean, I have my book idea, Attachment, Spirit, and Money. Most people's problems, attachment, spirit, money. I should honestly just write that book. I mean, why don't I? I think it would be a good idea to write it, even if it's not perfect, right? And just, I don't know if I would make money off of it. I don't really, like, I just care more about the ideas. I care more that the ideas are good, that the ideas are true, and that, like, it could help people. People could read it and be like, wow, this is something I didn't know about that has been affecting me. But I don't know. Maybe I should write that book. I mean, I probably should. Excuse me. Maybe tomorrow I could go back into writing it. I wonder what it would look like. I could make it. I'm good at doing things when I set my mind to them. But I feel really still just like debilitated. But I could give it a try. Attachment, spirit, money, most people's problems. And then I also want to put like, what's the solution? And if you watch my videos, or if you, I don't know, you would already know, I think that Jesus is the answer to spirit, coming to Jesus. Attachment, I'm getting more closer to what's the answer there, but I think it's earned secure attachment, transitional earned secure attachment. And then money, the answer is maybe one of those numbers like how much money do you need to be happy, and then after that it's diminishing returns. So it used to be 70,000, but maybe the answer to money is something else. But yeah.